Saturday Night Live writer Katie Rich was suspended indefinitely after posting a tweet that used Donald Trump's 10-year-old son, Barron, as the punchline. Now, we're not going to show you the tweet, but the question is, should kids always be off limits? Because SNL has used the children of president in sketches before.
I think so.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think, you know, kids don't ask for the job. They don't sign up for the job, and I don't think they should be subject to mockery, or I think there has to be something in politics. You know, criticize the guy or the woman who wanted the job and gets out there front and center and makes the tough policy decisions, but leave the kids out of it. Show some respect for the family. There has to be something sacred. Something has to be sacred, and I think it should be the children.
But isn't it because he's 10? I mean, I certainly think a 10-year-old is off limits. I have a 10-year-old, and she's extremely sensitive, and I'd be furious if someone did something like that. But Eric Trump, Donald Jr., Ivanka, they're kids of a president, but they've put themselves out there.
That's different because they're on television. They're on television talking policy.
They're
also part of adults.
They're adults.
So we're talking about kids, little kids.
Under, 18. I think life's hard enough. And normally, Joy, I would support, because I know what a comics approach to this is, that you can't really edit comedy. You got to let it go. It flows. But when it comes to how rough the world is on bullying and kids right now, it's one of those places that I would have a hard time even laughing anywhere at a joke at the kid's expense.
And the tweet you're holding a comedy writer accountable, and the president of the United States says much worse things, and he becomes the president.
That's
so there's a double standard here.
That's true.
I think that's understandable, but why punish his kid for that? It's not the kid's fault that his dad's a, whatever.
And I find
I agree with that point. I'm just pointing out the double standard.
Well, there's a triple standard here. You know that.
Yeah, but the tweet had something to do with violence.
Yes.
And so against, whoever.
Yeah, but...
And his father...
But then go after the dad.
Then Donald Trump said in 2016 of August the following: Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although these Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I found it violence implication there.
We don't
He's the president.
Two wrongs don't make it right. Like, I feel that
how about 10 wrongs?
Well, I'm just saying I don't agree with. Sorry, Whoopi. I don't agree with this either. I never did. So I feel like you have to take it case by case.
Yeah, and you can't hold a 10-year-old responsible for the idiocy of his dad. I don't mind going out. His dad's look.
You're right, girl.
I just, there's some things that you can't blame a 10-year-old.
No,
he didn't ask to come.
I agree with that.
He didn't ask to come. You know that.
I say
we're saying the same thing, but we also listen. Blame the dad, but also pay attention when you discover that Comey. Did you know this? That the New York Times is reporting that Comey, the FBI director, is being kept on.
Yes,
of course he is. So those are the things that if you want to attack some stuff, let's have some fun. Let's go after that and rip that to poop.
But
not the kid.
To Joy's point, one thing where I think they've gone wrong is SNL has suspended her indefinitely. She took down the tweet and she apologized, which is something our president never does.
That's the question. Should she be? Is what she did worth what she got? Because and to me, no. That was inappropriate. Yeah. It's an inappropriate...
It's overkill.
Definite suspension.
Get her out.
And she did apologize.
Yeah,
she said, I sincerely apologize for the insensitive tweet. I deeply regret my actions and offensive words. It was inexcusable, and I'm so sorry. It was a good apology.
I think you make a good point, though, Sonny, when you talk about Eric Trump, or once these kids become adults, and get on television and get on news shows and espouse opinions and are weighing in on their parents' policy decisions, then they need to be accountable for their actions. Then the excuse of, it's just, they didn't run for office. That doesn't count. We're talking about actual children who are not involved behind the scenes and are being held accountable for things.
So maybe the president gets away with it because he has the mentality of a 10-year-old.
That's giving a 10-year-old. That's giving a 10-year-old. Most 10-year-olds.
Okay, 5-year-old.
Yeah, 4-year-old. He's a zygote.
He's getting away with it. People are holding him accountable. We're sitting here.
He won the election.
He won the election, but you hold him accountable every day, and so do a whole bunch of people. So he's not getting away with it. He's held to account.
He is getting away with it. He's signing things I don't like already.
And you're holding him accountable for that.
What power do I have?
You're holding him accountable. What power do you have? in a few years, you'll have the opportunity to vote for somebody else. Elections have consequences, and you have the power to criticize that person and their policy.
Right now I do.
And people can be mobilized and vote people out.
Right now I do.
Biggest power in the world.
But, all right, but I hope that I still have my First Amendment rights.
You will have your First Amendment rights. I'm confident of that.
I reiterate. Comey is staying on.
Yeah.
After all of that.
Yeah. Well, he was.
There is a big question as to where we are headed, and we are right to ask these questions. It is what we're supposed to do. And the new First Lady has, I guess, also mostly been treated with kid gloves. People held up signs at the Women's March that read "Free Melania," but
Yeah.
And someone also put in on their site that the box that she gave the Obamas, when they opened it, it said help.
I saw that.
And also, you know what? There was another one. There was another one that said, "Here's your speech back."
That's a good one.
I didn't want
She's soft. Funny.
No, but there's been a lot of humor taken here, but. The question is, should she be off limits? Because she was one of the folks weighing in on political matters on your show in 2011. See his tax returns.
So, as you can see from that clip, she was very assertive about it.
Yeah.
She was right on his team.
And that was very interesting because
that's his wife.
You all know I've been willing to sort of let her off the hook after seeing the nude photos, you know, that I thought, that's something I thought was in the past. She plagiarized Michelle's speech. We all know she did. I was willing to kind of look the other way. She defended her husband and called joking about sexually assaulting women just locker room talk. I kept on giving her these passes. Then I saw that and I was like, wow, you don't get a pass.
She doesn't.
You don't get a pass because now you're pushing forth conspiracy theories.
Did you not hear any of the stuff that's in the two speeches that she gave that parroted exactly what he said? You know, last year. I mean, this is, if you're married to somebody, you're going to carry on. I get from talking to folks who are married, you're going to parrot kind of what your husband said.
There's a reason you're
but the idea,
if you agree with them.
If you agree.
Well, but you know, we will never know what she thinks or feels because she's always whisked away.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last time anybody saw her for more than 5 minutes.
We will hear more.
She was pushing a jewelry line, which she gave me a lovely watch, by the way.
She remember she came to the View, gave us ring.
Yeah,
Beautiful
she's
stuff.
very nice.
But I'm curious about her platform now.
The question really is she being told to tell these things?
Doesn't
and I
look like that.
I think that in that clip, which is one clip only, it shows that she has a mind of her own.
It doesn't really matter if she's being told. She's a grown woman and she's talking policy. Look, conservatives didn't let Michelle Obama off the hook for things she said. I remember Michelle Obama in February 2008, to be fair, she said, for the first time in my adult life, I'm really proud of my country because it feels like hope is finally making a comeback. A lot of people out there had a problem with that and said, for the first time you're proud of your country? They criticized her because she's a grown woman about to take a very big job, and they had questions about what she had said. In the same way, be consistent and have questions about this.
Can I just clean something up? No, I don't care about a birtherism. It's too late. But I understand why Michelle felt like that because I watched my mother weep at seeing President Obama become president because she never thought in her lifetime she'd ever see a person of color. So I get what Michelle was talking about.
I get that.
No, I just wanted to clear that up for people.
I understand that. I'm just speaking to the people who are selectively critical, who were critical of Michelle Obama saying, well, she's about to take a big job and she said this and I'm uncomfortable with it, but are hesitant to criticize Melania for getting on television and having an adult.
Michelle Obama got flack because she wanted to give healthy food to children.
Yes.
Don't you remember that?
She got flack because of the government.
Hold up.
Not because of that.
We'll be right back.
Oh, God forbid.
Still ahead, Trump goes to work. The most controversial cuts, repeals, and orders of his first day on the job.
Welcome back. Taylor Swift has spent a lot of her career touting female empowerment and strong women, but she's being trashed as a spineless feminist for being a no-show at Saturday's march. Does this make her less of a feminist? Who defines what a feminist is? How do you know? What the hell?
This is total crap to me. Like, she is someone that constantly lifts her squad up, other women. She once spoke out to a girl being bullied online and tweeted directly at this girl and said, you know, bullies are broken inside, don't let them change you, all these amazing things. I am tired of people projecting how they're defining it or what they expect onto someone else, because if you live it every day, then someone else should not be telling you what is okay and what isn't about being a feminist.
Well, you know, she knows very well that once you take a political position, you will lose half your audience, as we do, every day. The minute you say one way or the other, half of the people watching don't like you.
Right.
And she knows that, and she's in the record-selling business. When she says don't bully, that's a very,
But she
innocuous.
also tweeted something, which is what started
What
this.
did
She wrote,
tweet?
so much love, pride, and respect for those who marched. I'm proud to be a woman today and every day. # Women's March.
See, I had a problem with that, because I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift being apolitical. I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift not attending the march. But I have a problem with Taylor Swift sort of dipping in her toe to become somewhat political, but then getting right back out of the water. Because the Daily Beast said, trying or pretending to be woke without displaying any sort of political preference or informed opinion is almost more offensive than saying nothing at all.
I just disagree with that.
I agree with that.
I have had celebrities that say they feel every time someone passes away or something happens that they have to speak because they're a figure.
No one forced her to tweet that, though.
No, but what I'm saying is she may say she felt the pressure to. People are told that from their camps they have to do it. They have to speak. People need to stop. They need to know where their life ends and someone else's begins.
Don't.
Worry about the stuff in your own house and leave people alone.
I think she's a public figure, and I also think, quite frankly, too much, you know, when you get that much power and recognition and fame, that is a platform, and use it for good.
And that's what she said.
Dip her toe in, and just sort of dip it back out.
Let me just say, we don't know what she was doing behind the scenes that day. We don't know what her life's like. There are people that I know that have wanted to. I had a friend that wanted to volunteer at a soup kitchen and tweeted something out one time in support of that to raise funds. And you know what? Had a sick mom at home and was tending to that day. So I think it's really easy to
you don't think that if she was at a soup kitchen, there wouldn't be a picture?
Joy, not literally.
Not literally.
Whatever she was
You don't
doing.
know. Maybe she was sick. Maybe the girl was sick.
Come on.
Maybe she had something else. Or maybe
Joyful.
that's
You're being
not
cynical.
her way. But maybe that's not her way of
Everyone
defending
does it
feminism.
Everybody doesn't do it, and you have no right to criticize her for not doing what you would be doing.
Exactly.
I think listen, she can dip her toe in. One of the things that I like about Taylor Swift is that she doesn't shy away. If she wants to congratulate and say, oh, I'm really excited about this, she has the right to do that. We don't know where she was. We don't know what she was doing. And you know what? She at least acknowledged it. There were lots of famous chicks that said nothing. So I don't think anybody has the right to demand that you do something. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do what we do.
No.
But the way we do it.
I guess it's because of the girl power thing that sort of put her out there.
But that's what she does.
Yeah.
But she was doing that before we were talking about it. Okay, she was doing girl power before there was a march.
Yeah, and there's
and
no
we
formula
and we say, you know,
good for her.
That's what I want. Yes, and the fact that she does it.
Yeah, I'm just saying why
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
In 2015, she was actually named #1 on DoSomething.org's Celebs Gone Good list, in part for supporting feminist causes. Yeah. Like, I think we don't need to, when she comes out of the gates and does what she does in her world, we can't then say, but then you didn't do this, so maybe we'll take our card back. Like,
because then that holds us up to the same standard.
I think she has been very vocal about being a feminist. I know she gave this interview in 2014 to The Guardian magazine and says that after becoming friends with Lena Dunham, that she really understands that she's been a feminist her entire life. But I also think when you have that kind of platform and you've already put yourself out there, then it's up to you to do the most that you can possibly do.
But I don't know that she did. Listen, she does more than a lot of people have done. What have you done? What have I done?
I've done a little bit. What?
Okay, but I'm saying. saying that's what it holds us up to. What did I do? Okay, I did this, but I didn't do that. I think it's not a good idea for us to say to play that game because we're all guilty.
I also
my point.
I was
you know what I
know you didn't.
I also see me. No, but I understand the criticism. I really do.
I just think women, though, often, I see a lot of criticism by women of women saying, you're doing this, so you're not a feminist, or you're not doing this, so you can't. Feminism means different things to different people, and you can stand up for women's rights and stand up for women in your own way, and that might not suit your definition or your definition, but it suits my definition. And if it's positive and bringing something positive to the table, I'm okay with that.
Well, start with the equal pay for equal work. Start there.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that she's always talked about. She's always talked about it. You know, there are a lot of these little girls and young women who have gotten out there and they're standing up, and I always think, okay, good for you.
And don't focus on what they didn't do.
It's one more person who's saying something's wrong. I'm seeing it. You know, and I think that's not a bad thing, and I think you're right. Women always sort of
beat each other up.
She's beating
I'm beating her up because I think
this constant beating up of me is not right.
I think the focus on what people aren't doing is not the place we're at right now in this climate. We should be focusing on the good people do and applaud that and move on.
All right. Okay. I got gas. We'll be right back. So, you know, Kristen Bell is a wonderful young actress. And she says if her kids age 2 and 4 act up at the grocery store, it shouldn't reflect badly on her as a parent. But the question is, so when is it you? When should you take some action and get their little behinds out and or should you? Should it reflect a parent at all?
I'm new to the whole parenting game, so I'm barely in the door. But I think in those toddler years, we should all be a little forgiving of like, this is what they do. It's a different game when I think, and again, each child is different. But if you have like an 8-year-old that's beating the crap out of the seat in front of him on a plane and no parent speaks up, that's when I might have to do the little... That to me is a little more parenting.
My experience with my grandson is that when they're toddlers, as you say, like he's 6 now. When he was 2 or 3, he was crazy, the kid. And
they're little
tantrums. And then the other day he said to me, you know, Nana, I really like the texture of these walls. He's become like a gentleman. He's becoming like a bon vivant now and a wallpaper expert. So just wait it out and they get there.
We can hold him accountable.
I do think at some point it's not the parents' fault anymore, it's the kid's fault. But generally speaking, if your kid is a jerk, it's because you're not doing the right thing, right? Like, I was on. You're not.
What age is what you have to? I think you have to give us an idea of age. What you're talking about?
I think it's hard to.
2-year-olds are jerks. I'm just saying.
But I think if you have a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old that's being disrespectful and
that's parent.
That's a parent. And I was on a plane.
Is not.
Yeah, it's not. And I was on a plane recently, and I traveled with my kids since they were babies.
Were they perfect?
They were not perfect, but I had them occupied. I traveled with like 2 and 3 bags of coloring books and all of this stuff, and there was this kid that traumatized me. I mean, I was traumatized the entire flight, and his mother didn't have anything with her. And I thought, well, that's kind of parenting at that point. If you're on a 6-hour flight and you didn't bring anything.
Oh, what was the kid?
The kid was probably about 5.
All I know is that I'm always the one
always
next
alcohol,
to the worst kid. If you could find that one kid, if you're out in a space and there's the one kid that you're like, sit that kid over there. That kid's going to sit right next to me. He's going to tug. I had a kid. I took a nice nap on an airplane once and woke up. The kid had drawn all over me. I was like, what is it? I mean, it's like my ovaries just shut down in that moment. So I don't know who needs. Somebody needs to take care of that kid. But I agree with you. I think it's mutual responsibility. But the worst thing is when I woke up from that and the mom was like, oh, that's so cute. And I was like, So parents need to be parents at some point and reprimand.
It's a hard job.
I would not. I'm going to have that job one day, and I'm a little nervous.
We're waiting. We would love to see a little baby on.
I know.
We have one.
We have one.
Yeah.
You need a little right-wing baby.
We'll have a shower. It'll be like the old days on The View. I feel like we used to have showers.
Yeah, I never came. We'll be right back. A California woman posted her friend's incident at a restaurant where she complained about seeing a ratone while she was eating. And then the bill came, and she felt that the 30% discount with a note saying, you know, hey, this is what we know you saw a rat, so here's the 30% discount. She was appalled because she felt the whole meal should have been complimented. Now, me personally, I feel this is the difference sometimes between some people and some other people.
Yeah.
Well, some people say, oh, there's a rat there. Oh, look at the rat. Oh, excuse me. That's not what we would be doing. We'd be like, ah, rat!
That's right. That's true.
Click, 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 click.
It's true.
And as we're clicking the pictures, we'd be out the door, like you, because you wouldn't sit.
I would have standing on the table.
That's right.
Well, I was in Maine, and I did eating at a hotel restaurant, and I did see a mouse. It wasn't a rat. It was like a little field mouse, and I was, I didn't think about taking a photo of it. My husband...
You're of a certain age.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't...
If these,
yeah,
a young person
would have.
Click, 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 click.
My husband was pointing. We did not leave. We got free drinks, but then we got the bill.
But you stayed, you and the mouse.
I had already eaten.
Well, it's not like the rat can drink the martini. I would stay too.
Right?
Yeah.
Stayed,
but that's a practical girl.
Thank you.
And I paid the bill.
Take the glass with you, and then you're eating.
Yeah.
You know,
A rodent indoors is unnatural and un-American.
But you're talking about a little tiny mouse. You could justify, it's cute, it's little. You can't talk about a rat.
if it can poop on the food, it shouldn't be in there.
That's true.
They need to close that restaurant
And
down.
you know how they calculated the bill had $30.95 off. Like at what point are they like, really? Give or take a few cents?
That is crazy.
But there is a note. The Kevin Fatt, who's the COO of the restaurant group, says that they never had an issue with rats in their 14 years of business, and a Sacramento County health inspector was dispatched to the location after the report and found no evidence of an infestation.
Well, it could happen. I mean, it happens.
So maybe it was just a one-off rat. Maybe it wasn't like... You know what I mean?
Also, people don't know the difference between a rat and a mouse. If people outside of big cities don't seem to... A vole is the little mouse you saw.
Yeah, I saw
And ratone is something that has a tail. It's as big as your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can carry your baby and a piece of pizza out the store,
Exactly.
it's too big.
Exactly.
Okay? How about this? Allure magazine. Allure magazine. Okay, got some women to share some things they were really thinking during sex.
You love it. Sarah loves this story.
The bigger question really is...
What were you thinking?
What would make you answer this? What would you would see that?
Like, you should read this. There are so many entries. There's one where the woman can't tell if he's talking to Alexa or her. There are other ones.
Is her name Alexa?
No, but he was talking to her in full sentences, and he
during sex?
Yes,
How
it's
annoying.
amazing. I'm so glad people answer these questions. Then there's a woman with a dog that's like, please don't come upstairs, please don't come upstairs, because the dog always jumps on the bed. And you know, and the other thing is, someone was like, maybe the Holocaust movie wasn't the best choice because you can hear it in the background. Do you know? I mean,
Oh my God.
There was one that said, is this really happening? I didn't even realize he was bald, and I've always wanted to have sex with a bald guy. Surprise, when?
That's a hooker. That is a hooker.
Another woman wrote she was hoping to go to work early, but her husband's a morning person. Ugh. You guys know you're thinking it sometimes.
Well, what are you? Like, give us yours.
Please don't jump up here. Please don't jump up here to my chihuahua. Or Anderson Cooper, can we talk a little quieter? Like, I thought it. I know I'm alone.
See, this is what I don't understand. if you have a dog and you know you're getting it on, why is the door open?
Because it might be spontaneous, right?
No.
It's a chihuahua. She goes with me everywhere.
Yes, but she should not. If she knows that she's going everywhere, it's your problem. If she jumps up on the bed.
She scratches the door if I don't let her in, and then she sits on her bed and does this.
Oh.
She side-eyes me through the whole... It's really hard.
What are you going to do when Alex gets big enough to come in?
Alex. And I can lock him out. A chihuahua scratches the door.
You cannot lock a child out.
You
They
can't
show
do
up.
it.
They show up. That's always my...
Alex. All right, don't hit me.
We'll be right back. He made that loud and clear during his inaugural address, but between his ties to Russia and to business interests around the world, how will he really handle global politics? Joining us now is the woman who just left her post as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Samantha Power. Hey.
Hello.
So, as you watched over the last couple of years this sort of begin to unfold, what were you hearing from other nations? Did they take it seriously? Did they think this was a joke? And once they realized that he was the nominee, did folks then start to panic around the world?
I think it caught them off guard, just as it caught many in this country off guard. I will say that my fellow ambassadors were tracking the latest Pew Rasmussen polls as if it was happening in their own country. I mean, this is how important American leadership is around the world. You know, people say that when America sneezes, country X gets a cold, you know, and so they feel very connected with what has happened here, and in the same way they felt affirmed and that change and hope and everything was possible because Barack Obama managed to be elected in this country against all odds.
Twice.
So too, twice, no less. So too here, they're very fearful for what it will mean for the rest of the world. If America first, which is a reasonable proposition for a commander-in-chief, they're going to put their citizens first. But if that means America only, or if we don't see our security as linked to that of other countries, or our economy as linked and to that of other countries, that could be a real problem, because if we turn our back on NATO, then we're going to turn around to NATO countries and say, hey, come fight with us against ISIL. Or if Ebola happens or something like that, and we say, well, that's their problem, that's not America, but then Ebola comes here. You know, we've seen it. We live in a connected world, and we can't pretend that's not the case.
Wait, let me ask you something, Samantha. What do you make of his cozy connection to Russia?
Not a fan.
Do you think, well, some people think that he owes a lot of money to them, and so there's some blackmail that could go on.
Look, I think what is important is that Russia has spent the last several years under President Putin violating every rule in the playbook on which our security depends. That was started in Ukraine when they tried to lop off and indeed have attempted to annex part of a neighbor. Territorial integrity is sacred. It has to be.
But Trump will say, what's wrong with getting along with Russia? It's good
I'm for getting along with Russia. I got along with Russia in all kinds of ways. We got 60 resolutions a year, you know, through the UN Security Council, set up peacekeeping missions, want to fight sexual violence around. There are lots of ways to get along with Russia. But when Russia starts lopping off part of a country, when they support a government that's using chemical weapons against its own people, and when they interfere in our election, and try to change the outcome of our election, like, all bets are off. And we have to recognize this is a bipartisan challenge. This is something that we have to be able to unite around. And sadly, because of, as it happens, a Republican was elected in an election in which Russia tried to interfere, that has made Republicans, many, go to their corner. Democrats go to their corner. We got to get past that, because China's looking, North Korea's looking, ISIL's looking, and Russia's still looking to see how they can do more and worse.
Well, Trump has to take over the UN ambassador spot is Governor Haley. Some people, she did well in her hearing, but some
I've had a lot of very constructive dealing with her since she was named. My team, they were my team, they're not my team anymore, I guess, but a group of career Foreign Service civil servants are there who coached me through the early days and the early years. Fundamentally, I think she has run South Carolina well. She's very popular in her state, and people at the UN are pretty excited about her, I've got to say. They think that she puts forward a constructive face. They like some of what she said in the hearing. They're anxious because they're worried that the Trump administration will turn its back on the UN. And I've got to say, I was I benefited from the fact that Barack Obama was my president. You can be a very effective and even popular UN ambassador if the policies of your government are ones that you can use to rally the world. So fundamentally, there's only so much an ambassador can do. If the president walks away from the UN, that's going to undermine the effectiveness of my successor.
Is he going to do that?
No, I don't know that he is, but I think certainly there's been rhetoric out of different camps that we should worry about, because the UN is a screwed up place. It's 193 countries. Each of them bring their own self-interest, their own pettiness, this, that, and the other. But fundamentally, if we didn't have it, we'd have to build it. Because all the threats that are most dangerous to us and to the American people are ones across borders, where you need to mobilize coalitions to come together to come up with solutions.
But Ambassador, he called it a club for people to get together, talk, and just have a good time, and a waste of time and money.
Well, it's clearly
can he sever ties with the UN if he wants to?
Well, we are the biggest donor to the UN. With that financial responsibility also comes a huge amount of power at the UN. We are the leader of the world, in part because of the support that we offer for peacekeeping, for vaccinations for kids around the world. I mean, he's the president. He could work with Congress to do a lot of things, but it would be very ill-advised from the standpoint of the security of the American people. Extremely ill-advised.
And can Nikki Haley do anything about that if he decides to pull out?
To her great credit, has negotiated with President Trump to be cabinet-level UN ambassador. She's the first Republican in a really long time who has done that. Yeah. And so, again, she will be her own ambassador, and we'll see how she settles in. But her voice at the table, not, parroting the views of other countries. That's not what you do. But sharing, here's what countries are saying about their willingness to do what we need them to do. They don't just take orders. Yeah. You actually have to hear them out and build coalitions in a constructive way.
Samantha, what's next for you as you move forward?
A nap, and then Little League, because I have two littles who I had at the White House while I was working for President Obama. I've been at this for 10 years. Oh, yes.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
So them mainly, but I think anything that each of us was planning to do before all of recent events, as we put it, unfolded, we have to do that and now figure out what else.
Yeah.
So what's the other thing? And my son used to say when I was coming home and I was on my BlackBerry the whole time, and he would say, Mommy, it's always Putin, Putin, Putin. When's it going to be Declan, Declan, Declan? And so now's the Declan, Declan, Declan phase, but the problem is there's still Putin, Putin, Putin.
Yeah.
And now we got Putin, 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 and...
Well, hopefully Nikki will use you as an ally, because I think you can never have too many allies.
Yeah, I root for her. I root for all of them. It's about the American people and keeping this country safe.
All right. Thanks to Ambassador Power. Come back and hang out anytime. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
So when was the last time any of you guys went over to the UN? Have you been over in a while?
I went recently.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we should do that. We should go over and just see what the ambassadors do, see what's happening at the UN.
It's a fascinating,
like a field trip.
Place.
Road trip.
And it's an important place, as we
now
all
that you say it like that, I'm not sure I want to
Take the party bus, guys.
Listen, whatever we're doing, whatever you're doing, we're glad to be with you while you're doing it. We want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view.
All right.
Saturday Night Live writer Katie Rich was suspended indefinitely after posting a tweet that used Donald Trump's 10-year-old son, Barron, as the punchline. Now, we're not going to show you the tweet, but the question is, should kids always be off limits? Because SNL has used the children of president in sketches before.
I think so.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think, kids don't ask for the job. They don't sign up for the job, and I don't think they should be subject to mockery, or I think there has to be something in politics. Criticize the guy or the woman who wanted the job and gets out there front and center and makes the tough policy decisions, but leave the kids out of it. Show some respect for the family. There has to be something sacred. Something has to be sacred, and I think it should be the children.
But isn't it because he's 10? I mean, I certainly think a 10-year-old is off limits. I have a 10-year-old, and she's extremely sensitive, and I'd be furious if someone did something like that. But Eric Trump, Donald Jr., Ivanka, they're kids of a president, but they've put themselves out there.
That's different because they're on television. They're on television talking policy.
They're also part of adults.
They're adults.
So we're talking about kids, little kids.
Under 18. I think life's hard enough, and normally, Joy, I would support, because I know what a comics approach to this is that you can't really edit comedy. You got to let it go. It flows. But when it comes to how rough the world is on bullying and kids right now, it's one of those places that I would have a hard time even laughing anywhere at a joke at the kid's expense.
And the tweet you're holding a comedy writer accountable, and the president of the United States says much worse things, and he becomes the president. That's true. With a double standard here.
That's true. I think that's understandable, but why punish his kid for that? It's not the kid's fault that his dad's a, whatever.
And I find
I agree with that part. I'm just pointing out the double standard.
Well, and there's a triple standard here. You know that.
Yeah, but the tweet had something to do with violence.
Yes.
And so against, whoever.
Yeah, but...
And his father...
But then go after the dad.
Then Donald Trump said in 2016 of August the following. Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although these Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
Yeah, but I found it
violence implication there.
We don't
He's the president.
Two wrongs don't make it right. Like, I feel that
how about 10 wrongs?
Well, I'm just saying I don't agree with. Sorry, Whoopi. I don't agree with this either. I never did. So I feel like you have to take it case by case.
Yeah, and you can't hold a 10-year-old responsible for the idiocy of his dad. I don't mind going out. His dad's look.
You're right, girl.
I just, there's some things that you can't blame a 10-year-old.
No,
he didn't ask to come.
I agree with that.
He didn't ask to come. You know that.
I say
we're saying the same thing, but we also listen. Blame the dad, but also pay attention when you discover that Comey. Did you know this? That the New York Times is reporting that Comey, the FBI director, is being kept on.
Yes,
of course he is. So those are the things that if you want to attack some stuff, let's have some fun. Let's go after that and rip that to poop.
But
not the kid.
To Joy's point, one thing where I think they've gone wrong is SNL has suspended her indefinitely. She took down the tweet and she apologized, which is something our president never does.
That's the question. Should she be? Is what she did worth what she got? Because and to me, no. That was inappropriate. Yeah. It's an inappropriate...
It's overkill.
Indefinite suspension.
Get her out.
And she did apologize.
Yeah, she said, I sincerely apologize for the insensitive tweet. I deeply regret my actions and offensive words. It was inexcusable, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It was a good apology.
I think you make a good point, though, Sonny, when you talk about Eric Trump, or once these kids become adults and get on television and get on news shows and espouse opinions and are weighing in on their parents' policy decisions, then they need to be accountable for their actions. Then the excuse of, it's just, they didn't run for office. That doesn't count. We're talking about actual children who are not involved behind the scenes and are being held accountable for things they're
So maybe the president gets away with it because he has the mentality of a 10-year-old.
That's giving a 10-year-old. That's giving a 10-year-old. Most 10-year-olds.
Okay, 5-year-old.
Yeah, 4-year-old. He's a zygote.
He's getting away with it. People are holding him accountable. We're sitting here.
He won the election.
He won the election, but you hold him accountable every day, and so do a whole bunch of people. So he's not getting away with it. He's held to account.
He is getting away with it. He's signing things I don't like already.
And you're holding him accountable for that.
Yeah, but what power do I have?
You're holding him accountable. What power do you have? In a few years, you'll have the opportunity to vote for somebody else. Elections have consequences, and you have the power to criticize that person and their policy.
Right now I do.
And people can be mobilized and vote people out.
Right now I do.
Biggest power in the world.
Right now. All right, but I hope that I still have my First Amendment rights.
You will have your First Amendment rights. I'm confident of that.
I reiterate. Comey is staying on. After all of that.
Well, he was.
There is a big question as to where we are headed, and we are right to ask these questions. It is what we're supposed to do. And the new First Lady has, I guess, also mostly been treated with kid gloves. People held up signs at the Women's March that read "Free Melania," but And someone also put in on their site that the box that she gave the Obamas, when they opened it, it said help.
And also, there was another one. There was another one that said, Here's your speech back.
That's a good one.
I didn't
She's soft. Funny.
No, but there's been a lot of humor taken here. But the question is, should she be off limits? Because she was one of the folks weighing in on political